In this video, we're going to be going over UV unwrapping. But first, I forgot to do something. Okay, with my model, you see with me, I had this little gum thingy in my mouth. I forgot to give him a gum thingy. So we're gonna add him the gum thingy. I'll hide all the clothing, so I don't need that on right now. We're gonna go to bring up low poly. I'm gonna take his ear thingy, since I have both the high and low poly selected. Hit D to duplicate. It already has the modifier. I'm gonna hit 7 and just rotate that over, and then just 3, shrink it down. Move that over and just put it right in there. Make it all nice and neat. Bring it right about there. There we go. He has the gum thingy, both low poly and high poly. Okay, so we're going to go into unwrapping. Basically, unwrapping is the best way to describe it is like taxidermy. So we're just going to take everything and just kind of stretch out the skin. But we're going to go into edit mode. And since it already has the mirror modifier on, everything we do over here, it's going to apply over here. So I'm going to start out with the armpit. I'm going to hold down Alt and click, and it's going to select a ring. And do I want that? You know what I want to do is I want to hold down Shift and select these edges. Then with Shift still select, I'm going to unselect these, and there we go. Then I want to right click, then go down to mark seam, and then there we go. We now marked the seam with a nice red line. So that's what basically we're going to be doing. All right, now that we got the arm, then let's move on down to the wrist. Since I selected here, and you see it didn't actually do the loop, it's because there's a bit of a, just hold down Shift, and then it will just continue the loop around. Then mark seam, there we go. Now for the back of the arm, I want to select this edge and go all the way down here. So I just hold down Control, and there we go. A nice big line right there for the arm. Now for the hands, I'm going to select these two edges and just move down and go all the way right here and mark the seam. Do that for every finger. Like that. For the bottom of the palm, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this edge, go all the way over, and just down right here with these edges, straight across, and right there, and hit mark to seam. And there we go. We now just unwrapped the hand. Oh, let's go back to the torso here. All right, now for the torso, for the neck, I'm going to select these edges. Just mark the seam. Now I'm going to select this edge and go right up here. I'm going to be start unwrapping or marking the seam for the torso. For the leg, I'm going to select this edge right here that goes right between the legs and right about there. There we go. That's what I want to see. Then mark the seam. Then select this edge right up here. There we go. Now if you need a way to test if you have your seams marked correctly, if you go up to face and hit L, and you see I didn't correctly mark all the seams. So I'd go back underneath here, YouTube. This is a video, modeling tutorial video. Don't be banning me. And then there we go. This means I have correctly marked all the seams. Now for the tail, I'm just going to select these and then mark the seam and then go straight underneath the tail, go all the way back here to, let's say right about here. And then again, mark the seam and selected the void to deselect. Now for the legs, I'm going to go right here. Yeah, that should be good. And mark the seam. We got that for the foot. Now for the for the bottom of the feet, I'm going to do this first. Select all these edges. Select all the way up here. Go down. There we go. Then mark seam. Go up to these two edges. Mark seam. Now pretty much what we just did with the hands, we're going to do with the feet. Go to the middle. Select right about there. Mark seam. Mark seam. You know what? Let's mark these 3 as well. Mark those seams. Now, if you say you added too many seams and you want to remove them, it's simple as just selecting it and go to clear seam. So that clears the seam, but I want that on, so we're going to mark it. Wait, now let's unwrap the inside of the legs here. Go right here, get a nice little foot pick and mark that seam. There we go. Now let's go up to the head. Now, I usually like to do this for the mouth. Let me zoom in here. I'm going to select these edges and just mark the seam so we can separate this and texture that separate. Now for the back of the head, I'm going to start off by separating the bottom of the jaw, the bottom of the head with the top. So I'm just going to select that ring and just deselect everything in here because we don't actually need all that. Go into wireframe. Yep, I got one extra. Just be careful when you're marking the seams that you don't get anything you don't want because it could cause some weirdness later down the line when you actually unwrap. I'm going to mark the seam right there. Now for the back of the head, I'm going to go right about here. Right about there is good. Then mark the seam. Let's just do a little check here. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Got the back and the front. All of these. There we go. So that's good there. Now I'm going to actually hide the body and then go into, actually no, let's work on this gum because I don't want the back. I don't want all these. So I'm just going to quickly delete these. Ooh, right about there. So I'm just going to hit delete. And there we go. Now we don't really have to unwrap. Well, actually, no. I want to put a seam right here and a seam right there and just mark that. So there we go. Now for the gums, we don't have to mark any seams because it's already open. Don't have to worry about that. Now for the teeth, let's hit question mark. Now for the teeth, I want to select this edge, zoom in a little bit, and go right here and mark a seam like that. Do the same thing over here because I already applied the mirror earlier. Mark the seam. There we go. Now I'm going to do these two teeth and then I'm going to cut with all the rest of them done. So select that edge right there. Mark the seam right there. And then mark the seam right there. There we go. Now I will do that with every tooth. So see you in a bit. Now that I got the teeth all unwrapped, go back. Same thing with the eyes, like just the gums. We don't really need to unwrap them since they have no back, so don't have to worry about it. Now for the ear thingy-bobber, so we're going to unwrap these very similar how we just unwrapped the hands and feet. I'm going to go into the inside. I'm going to select this edge, go in, mark the seam, take this edge, go in, mark the seam, and go in here. Now, a lot of this isn't permanent or set in stone. When I go to unwrap it and it doesn't seem like it's unwrapped correctly, I can always go back and edit, make some changes. Not that big of a deal. You know what? Let's just select all that and just do a nice little loop right down here. There we go. Well, no, for the second part of the ears. You know what? We're going to do the same thing we just did with the gums, and we're just going to delete some edges here. I want to delete those. I'm going to delete that, and there we go. Lastly would be the horns. So horns, same thing what we just did with the teeth, like right. Oh, actually, let's start up here and then select this. Mark theme. Mark theme. Turn back on the low poly. Now I'm just going to select everything, go into edit mode, and just double check, make sure I have everything marked. Looks like it. If not, again, I can go back and fix everything. All right, now that I've double checked everything, all the seams look good. I'm actually going to go up to object and convert. Actually, no, first off, I want to make save increment just in case. Then I'm going to go up to object, convert, and with everything selected, go up to object, convert to mesh. So that will apply all of the modifiers. Then I'm going to hit Control A to apply all the transformations and go to set origin. There we go. You know what? I'm actually going to add the eye in with this. So let's go in the eye. Okay, eye looks good. I'm just going to manually apply that and just do everything here real quick. Now I'm going to give it a material. Now I already have a material already made, but I'll show you how to make it. It's super easy. Just hit new, and I'm going to call this Jarek _ body texture. So when you're, again, like everything else, make sure you name everything properly so you keep track of it. Now I have to go in there and select each one of these meshes and apply that same the material. There's a shortcut for that. There's always a shortcut for that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit A to select everything, then hit Control L to bring up the link transfer menu and go to link material. And now everything has the same material on it. That's super handy. Super, super handy. And I just realized something. Oh, wait, but I remember what I wanted to do. I know I just said apply the mirror to the eye, but I don't actually want to do that. So I want to delete the eye and put the mirror back on. You'll see why in a little bit. That's my bad. I do apologize. All right, now that I got that done, we're going to go over to UV editing. Actually, let's go into object mode here real quick. Now you can see here, this is our character right here. This is everything. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a grid texture map. So we're going to go up here to create new, and I'm just going to call this grid. And I like to do all of my texture maps 20 by 48. I guess that's 2K. So there we go. Then go down to generate type. I want to pick UV grid, then hit new image. And there we go. We got a grid. This will help when we're unwrapping to get everything, to make sure all the UVs and everything is perfectly even. I'm going to go over here to my low poly, hit A to select everything, then go to edit mode. And now you can see nothing's really showing up. Now, if I select this, that pops up, or I select this, that pops up. I know it's a little hard to see, I do apologize, but not everything shows up. So if you want all your UVs to show up and unwrap, go up here, just like UV sync, and then there we go, we got everything. Now I want to hit A to select everything, so it makes everything nice and bright orange. Now I want to hit U, and then unwrap angle based, and then click that, And there you go. It unwrapped everything. Nice and even. But now you see we haven't unwrapped this, but the texture here is still not showing up. So that's two things we have to do real quick. I'm gonna go over here. I want to hit View, Shading, Material Preview. Oh, it's still not showing up. Well, that's because we have to go to the Shading tab. This is our material node that we just made earlier. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna hit Shift A, hit Search. And the first thing that usually pops up is Image Texture. So I'm gonna select that, then go down to right here and select Grid, then take this color and put it right there. There we go. Go back up to UV editing. And now you see, you can now play checkers on him. Now, actually, since I already did that, this looks pretty good. Blender does a really good job at automatically unwrapping everything, but there are still some things we have to do to clean up. Like right here on his snoot, see how the checker here is a little bit bigger. So that's a pretty easy fix. What we're gonna do is just go down a little bit further. Let's go right about there, then mark those seams, select everything again, hit unwrap. And there's still a little bit on the big side. I'm gonna go from underneath right there, okay? Then mark those seams, then do another quick UV unwrap. I don't like that, so forget I did that. Well, let's go down a little bit further right here, and then just select all those edges. Again, mark the seam, do another quick UV unwrap, and I don't know if that looks better or worse. Unwrapping the head is always a bit weird. They made a center line very vertical. Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, that's how my head is, but it's still kind of big there. Wait, split the face into two. If you cut the UVs from the corner of the nostrils, it'll relax it more. Like right here. That shit. Kind of like down like that. Wait, cut the outer. Wait, what do you... Wait, cut the out... Like surround like this? Okay, you know, I'm very confused. Jellybean, just get in here. Get in the Discord. I'm confused. If you have a second, get into Discord. With the help of a friend, we just discussed that the UVs, so you see the grid here for the face, is a little too big. So what we're going to do is I'm going to select these edges and go right down here and mark those seams. Now I want to select everything again and then unwrap, and then there we go. Now all the squares in the face are nice and even. And it's okay if it looks like this. Some of the squares are a little weird. That's fine. That's not going to hurt anything. But no, the face looks great. All right, now that we got everything nice and almost nice, we still have to do a little bit of organization here. Now what I like to do is I like to select everything and just move them off the grid here. And now I want to pack these all nice and neat. So I want to take the tail here. I usually start with the biggest object, and let's move that down to right about there. Let's get a little bit straighter. So I'm just going to rotate it right about there. That looks good. And get this right to the corner. Right about there. That should be good. The tail looks nice and long. Now let's start off with the torso, the front and the back. And let's put those two right there. Get both the legs. Let's put them right around the torso, right about there. Yeah, just like I said, everything, you want to make sure everything is nicely and neatly packed away. Try to use up as much space as you possibly can. And for the feet, unwrapped very nicely. Put one right here. Put the other one right there. Put them down here. Now, when you're moving UVs around, make sure none of them are overlapping, because when we go to texture bake them, it won't look good. So make sure nothing's overlapping. Now, here's the top. There's the bottom jaw. Grab the top jaw. Put that right here. Now, this one does look a little bit big. So when you're also scaling UV maps, if you go big, you see how the squares get smaller because that's more surface. Then if you go smaller, the squares get bigger because they're taking up less surface. Now with the head here, it is a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to scale it just a little bit, tiny little bit. Right about there. I think the jaw looks a little big too. So let's scale that. And let's just rotate that and put that right here. Put that right there. Actually, the eye. Now, since I went back with the eye and deleted the other part and put a mirror on there, when I go to apply that mirror later, both both eye UV maps will overlap with one each other. That's what I want to see. That's the only time I want something to overlap is when the eyes. So we're going to put the eyes, let's put them in a good spot. Let's put them right here in the tail hole. That's a very good spot for them. Then, oh, we have a little bit of a problem right here. I forgot to unwrap something. So this is what it looks like when you forget to mark any seams to it. And I think that's, yep, that's the tongue. I forgot to unwrap the tongue. So yeah, and when you're unwrapping, make sure you get everything. I wasn't careful. I'm a bad modeler. So I'm just going to go in here real quick and just unwrap the tongue. Go back and select everything. Now for the tongue, I can just unwrap that and shrink it down to, again, about the same size as all the other squares. And I want to put that right here. Since they're both the same color, I'm going to keep all the mouth parts together. So it'll be a lot easier to texture. Put that right there. I could make this nice and neat. Make sure that is nice and straight. Now these are the horns. Keep those, let's put those over here. That'd be a good spot for them. What are these again? Ah, those are the bottom of the feet. Okay. So let's put the feet over here. Okay, those are also the feet. These are the bottom of the feet. Actually, no, let's move the legs. Try to keep everything relatively close together. There we go. Like keep the legs together, the feet together, any mouth or gums together, stuff like that. Again, I do apologize. It does look a little weird. I know it's a bit hard to see with the grid on and everything more or less being black and white or more gray. Now, the hands look good. Where do I want to put the hands at? I'm going to actually move the head over here. Yeah, this is kind of just a giant jigsaw puzzle. You have to make sure everything goes in the right place. So there we go. Let's get the inside of the mouth here a while. Okay, just take your time. No rush. Make sure you get everything right. I'm going to actually make these a little bit bigger. There we go. Now, this is one of the few times I will scale something up because this way it gets the squares nice and even. I'll probably do that for the inside of the mouth too. Move that right here. There we go. Let's take the gums. Now, one is a little bit bigger than the other, so we're going to grow the smaller one. We're right about the same size. There we go, looking pretty good. Take the eyelids. And these actually look good. Okay, those look good. I want to put them around where the head is. Put them right here. I also zoom in. Okay, good. They have enough space, so that should be fine. I say that as I go back and move them in a little bit closer. Okay, let's take these. How well these unwrapped? Oh, they unwrapped. Nice. I like that. Very nice. We'll take all of these. Let's just keep them grouped together. Put them right here. That should be good. Make them a little bit bigger. Especially these two. Let's make those a little bit bigger. These are the teeth. Now, I know the teeth are just all over the place, so what I like to do, make it a little bit easier, is just unwrap them like that and then just shrink them down. That just makes them a lot easier to manage, and I'll just put them like right down here. Take these, put them over here, put those right there. I know this one's hanging off, so I don't want that. Some of these kind of moved together, so that's, there we go. Let's move these, separate these. These. But there we go. That looks good. I'll double check, make sure I did get everything. Yep, I got everything. And that looks, there we go. That looks great. Everything's been nice and unwrapped. See, it's kind of like taxidermy. We got the head. The head looks great. Thank you, Jellybean. Appreciate that. Looks a little scary. You know what? It works. You know what? I'm actually going to go back. I want to do something similar to the bottom of the jaw because it does look a little stretched like I just did with the nose. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's see how well that looks. We could do a little unwrap. And there we go. That looks a lot better. That looks a lot better. Nice and cleaner. Bring it down a little bit. So make sure it is even with the top of the head. There we go. That looks a lot better. So there we go. Go to layout, turn back on there. So there we go. We have the body all nice and unwrapped. So next thing we're going to do is the clothes. So I'm going to keep everything in one video. Makes it a lot easier. That means more editing for me. Yay. So I'm going to hide the body. Let's start out with the pants. I'm going to select everything here again and hit convert to mesh, apply the scaling, geometry. There we go. Now we're going to create a new material, and we're just going to call this one clothes. And we're going to use this material for all the clothing. For the belt buckle, apply the material so they all have the same material in here. All right, now for the pants, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this ring and mark the seam. Then I'm going to select the middle of the pants and go right here. So I don't want to, and right down here, control, nice little line, then mark that seam. I'm going to select this ring, mark seam. Now I'm going to select this edge and then go all the way over here and hit control. And I want that line right there. Because when I go to unwrap the pants, they're all going to be actually kind of similar to what I just did with the fingers. The last ring I want to do is for the tail. So let's just mark that seam. There we go. Now for the belt, let's select everything here. All right. So I want to take these edges, and this is going to be, mark that seam. That's going to be for the belt itself. So that's all I really want since it's all nice and, actually, no, I lied. Let's do this. Let's get these edges right here and let's mark that seam. There we go. Now for this part, you know what? I'm just going to go straight down the middle and select all these edges and just hit mark seam. And there we go. Last but not least, you know what? Let's just zoom in here. Same thing, what I just did with the belt part. There we go. So there we go. Now the pants are unwrapped. Let's do the shirt next. Now, this is going to be very interesting since I have this leather piece. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to start up here. So that's what I want to see. Mark that seam. Now I'm going to select this loop too, all the way around. And let's mark the seam. And then what I'm going to do here is, since this is that little strap, I'm going to unwrap that separately. Mark the seam right there. Now let's take the inside here, mark that seam. Now for the shirt, I'm just going to go straight down, right down there. And actually, let's just continue that seam, move right there. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to what's called mark sharp. So I'm going to select this line, this seam that I just made, and then I'm going to right click and hit mark sharp. You can't have mark seam and mark sharp on there twice. Like, that's fine. You can have them on, you can have them on top of each other. That's fine. And you can already see, if I turn it off, see, it's all nice and smooth. Hit mark sharp. It sharpens that right there. So that's what I want to see. Now I'm going to go to the top part. Now mark seam is red, and then mark sharp is blue. So that's what I want to see. Now you don't always have to do this. Usually when you mark sharp works better for more hard surface modeling. But since for this clothes, this is like a leathery kind of strap to it, that you could also use it on there, because I want it to be look like it's kind of sewn on. I wonder if I could do that same thing to this. I wonder how that would look. Actually, that looks good. I want to do that too. There we go. Now for the strings here, I'm just going to, actually, I'm going to delete these in here. And then I'm just going to go straight down the middle here and then just mark that seam. There we go. You know what? These do look a little on the higher poly side. So I'm going to go in and select every other loop here. Right about there. That should be good. Then hit delete and dissolve edges. And there we go. That looks good. I like that. There we go. The shirt is unwrapped. Up next is the vest. The vest I was looking forward to. Oh, wait. I actually forgot with the shirt. Let's convert that to mesh. Apply all transformations. Geometry. There we go. Now let's move on to the vest. I've been looking forward to this vest. Now I'm going to start with this part up here. And let's just mark the seam. And then take this part too. You know, let's bring this up right about here. Yeah, I want that. Then mark the seam. Then let's go right back on these edges that we just marked. Those are on the bottom there. And let's do mark sharp. There we go. Same thing that we just did down here. Actually, where's that? Right here. That should be it. I'm actually just going to mark sharp that one a while and mark that seam. Now with mark sharp, you can just do something like this, like that, and just have like a line right there. It doesn't have to be connecting anything. It just be anywhere you think that needs a nice crisp edge. Now I want to select the inside here and just mark that seam. It's going to be very interesting. Mark that seam right there. So if I go into face and I select that, so that's going to be a map. Oh, actually, I forgot about this. Oh, hello. Did I forget to do something? I forgot to do something. I forgot to do this from last video. My bad. I'm just going to leave it right there. That'll be our little secret. Don't tell anybody. I want to select this. What I'm going to do, I was going to select this edge and go all the way down here and hit mark seam. There we go. So now we have the outside here and we have the inside. Two inside. Actually, no, we're going to have two inside. I'm going to delete this. Go up here because clear seam. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to remove this seam, but keep the sharp seam on. So there we go. That's going to be the top part. And you know what? I'm going to take this right here, mark that, take this edge, mark that. So when this comes apart, this part will fly up, this part. It's kind of like, again, like taxidermy, but think of it more like this part is like a box. You have like the lid that's split open. And that, hopefully that makes sense. That's done. That was simple and easy. Move on to the gloves. Again, just like how we unwrap the hands, do the exact same thing to the gloves, but this time they have holes. So we're going to select these rings. I want to select all these rings here, like that ring, mark seam, then select that, like that, like that, mark seam, like that, mark seam. Let's go over. Like that. You know what? Let's just make the top. Let's just separate that from the rest of the glove. I'm just going to do this. Mark seam, and there we go. It worked for the hands. It should work for the gloves. Now for the shoes, pretty simple. We already got the hang of this. We know what we're doing. If not, feel free to ask questions. I'm going to select here, select here. Now for the foot, I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select both these rings, and let's actually mark that sharp. Mark that seam too. Now for the shoes, probably don't have to really unwrap them. Same way we just did the feet. I just go right down here, right to, let's say about here. Mark that seam. There we go. You know what? Let's also take this seam and let's mark sharp. There we go. There we go. Let's turn everything back on. Add the material on there. So we're just going to select everything. Hit Control L to link all materials. Now it all has the same material. Before I actually do anything, let's go over the shader. Let's add in the image texture right here. Add that in there. Bring up the grid. Go to UV. Okay, that's already it. Now this is what it looks like when you don't unwrap everything, like I did with the low poly body. I already unwrapped it, but this is what it looks like when you just apply everything. Also, probably a good idea to convert everything to mesh first. Apply all transformations. Then there we go. Now let's go into edit mode with everything selected. Then hit unwrap, and then, that actually looks really, really good. Now I'm going to pull everything out here, and let's start with the pants. And like how I unwrap the pants. Now the pants are just all one big unwrapped map. That's what I wanted to see. Beautiful. You get a lot easier to texture. Let's put that right there. The belt should be somewhere around here. Oh, a neat little trick that I did learn. I want to add this into the video because I completely forgot about that. If you're over here in the scenes tab and you see how everything here is open, because sometimes when you switch to different tabs, this is all open. You can close everything by hitting Shift A, and it opens and closes everything. I found out that by accident, and I feel kind of dumb not realizing it, but there you go. I want to turn off the shirt. This way I could see where the belt is. Turn back on the shirt. Actually, no, let's leave the shirt off while I actually put these into place. That would be a good thing. Now, for the belt, I'm actually going to extrude. For the belt, I'm going to scale that a little bit. You can see squares are getting a little bit smaller. Like L. I'm going to put that over here, like this one, put it right in the center there, and put it right about there. This is the belt, and this is also a belt. Get a little bit bigger so it matches everything. And there we go. Turn back on the shirt. Let's turn off the vest so I could get all the shirt here. That over here. Oh, I forgot about the strings. String. There we go. That's the back of the shirt. That right there. Let's get the front of the shirt, which is right here. What are these? Okay, that's the inward. So this is going to be the top of the shirt. So that's actually really good to know. We can do this. There we go. Just put those right about there where the pants are and the shirt itself. That's actually upside down. Let's flip it. There we go. Let's put that right about here. And for this part, actually, I'm going to leave what this part exactly like that. That's fine. When you're laying out your UV maps, it's always good to try to keep things straight. But if you need something like sideways, that's fine too. Just try to avoid crookedness like this. That's fine. All right, let's get both these sleeves. Put those right there. What is this? Is the strap. Strap could go right in there. And try to use as much space as you possibly can. A little bit bigger. Actually, no, that's a little too big. So I want to put this one right there. And I'm actually going to rotate this one. I'm not going to do that. Put that one right there and put this one right there. There we go. These are the strings. Make them a little bit bigger so they're easier to see. I wonder if these two straps can fit in this space like so. Yeah, that works. Let's move this. And then we'll take these two and put them, probably maybe shrink it down just a tiny wee bit more. There we go. Put them like that. Take this part and just come up. Yeah, that looks good. Turn back on the vest. Turn off the shirt. Select all of the vest. You know what? I'm just going to rotate everything right there. Honestly, I think the vest looks pretty good. The outside of the vest, let's move that down right about here. This is the inside of the vest, put that right about there. This is the top part of the vest, put that right about there. You know what, for this, let's flip it. So everything just fits into place, all nice and neat. Some overlap, so I don't want that. Again, no overlap. Try to avoid overlapping. That down right about there. This down a little bit. That right about that. That's good. Come back on the shirt. Now, another thing to look out for when you are mapping this out is you notice that I'm turning some things off. Just be careful because there can be a time where if you turn something off, sometimes it will disappear from here. Since I have everything selected, it might not. But if you want to unwrap everything separately, but use the same material map, just make sure you have everything selected and nothing's hidden and you don't have anything overlapping because that, again, that can lead into a lot of trouble later down the road. Oh, I forgot about the holes for the shirt. There we go. Now, with the gloves, you want to make sure that all the pieces are very close together. So I want to take all of these. Let's put that on the grid. Let's rotate them right about there. That's where we go. That's perfect. Put them right there. Just kind of double check, make sure nothing is overlapping. Very good. And the last bit here should be the shoes. So same thing what we just did with the gloves. We're gonna do with the shoes. And there we go. We got the shoes. And then let's try to find a spot to put all this. And this isn't too bad. I still feel like I could pack in a lot of the vertices a little bit more, especially around down here. But everything looks really good. So there we go. We got the clothes also unwrapped. So let's go into layout. Turn on that. Turn on the low poly and the eye. And there we go. Our character is now all nice and unwrapped. He is now ready for texturing, but that is going to be in a separate video. There is one more thing I want to go over before we go into texturing. I was going to keep this part of the texturing video, but I'm going to add it onto this one. So you get a little bonus footage. So now we got everything all nice and unwrapped. I want to get it prepared to be put into Substance Painter because that's what I use. I'll talk a little bit more about Substance Painter. And if you don't have Substance Painter, I'll go over a couple alternatives that you could use. So what I want to get this model ready is for what's called normal map baking. So we're going to take the high poly and bake all the details into the low poly. Again, I will go over that in the next video, but I'm going to start preparing for it in this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hide all the clothing. So I just want the body. And let's go over here. Well, first off, I want to save it. So there we go. I'm also going to hide the eye because I'm going to do the eye a little bit separate. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn on the high poly and the low poly. Now I want to separate everything, but I want to keep the high and low poly meshes still overlapping, but separate. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay. So I'm going to take the horns and move those out. Then take the ears, move those out too. Let's take the ear flaps. There we go. Now I'm going to take the high poly. I'm just going to hide that and do the same thing with the low poly body. The claws, I'm going to leave the claws, the high poly claws right where they are. I want them there. And I'm also going to hide the eye. I'm going to take the eyelids and move those over. But all right, I want to take the gums here. Let's move those out. And along with the tongue, but I want to keep the gums and the tongue around the same position. It'll make it a lot easier to texture everything because they're all going to be the same color. Same thing with these. Oops. Now I want to move the gums and the tongue together. There we go. Try to keep them all in the same area because they're all going to be the same color. It'll be a lot easier to texture. So they're all nicely and evenly spaced. Let's get the side gums too. Okay. Now with the teeth, see how they're all joined together like this? Well, some of them are. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the teeth. I'm going to go into edit mode, hit A, that's going to select everything, then hit P and separate everything by loose parts. And there we go. All the teeth are now separated. So I'm just going to quickly do a quick apply all the locations and then move everything to the origin or move the origin to geometry. And then there we go. Now I'm going to take the top teeth here. Let's move them over here. Take the bottom teeth. Let's move them over here. Take the front. Let's move those out here. Actually, let's select these two or the front teeth. Let's do that. Take these teeth, then take these teeth, then take this last tooth. And there we go. Oh, wait, I forgot about the two in the middle. I want these separated as well. So there we go. I want them all nice and separated like that. Now I'm going to turn on the two high and low poly again. Now for the eyes, I'm going to put them up here. Now for the eyes, I'm actually going to apply the mirror a while, just get that nice in there. And I'm actually going to duplicate the eyes. I'm actually going to call these, I should have did this in the previous one, but it's fine. Call this high poly. Let's put a material normal map multi-res, and I'm going to move the high poly eyes into the high poly and the low poly eyes into the low poly. So there we go. We have our eyes. All right. So now we have everything nice and separated. You know what? Let's bring these down a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Now everything is nice and separated. Do a save. I'm going to hide the high poly. So I'm going to select everything. Make sure I have the main body all nice and with the light orange selection. I'm going to go. Oh, also one more thing. When you're going to export this out, as we're going to be exporting out as an FBX, or you want to make sure everything is shade smooth. If you do it shade flat, then that's going to get exported out. We don't want this. So we want to make sure everything is shade smooth. Go up to File, Export, FBX. Now I'm going to call this one Low Poly. I'm going to select Object and then select Mesh. So I want to make sure this is checked on and select Mesh. Go down to Scale, hit FBX All, and you just go down a little bit more. There aren't any bones. Oh yeah, keep apply modifier on. So that's what we want. Then hit export. Now we're going to do the same thing to the high poly and then call this high poly. And there we go. So now that we got the body all separated, we're going to do the same thing to the clothes. So let's get all the high and low poly clothes together. Turn all that on. So I'm going to start out with the gloves. Let's just move those out of the way. That'll be the easiest. Then the same thing with the shoes. Always try to get the easy parts out of the way. Actually, why did I turn on everything? I'm going to hide. There we go. Hide the pants. I'm going to select the pants the best I can. And let's just move them forward. So right about there. Take the belt buckle too. Let's move those over. And then again, let's separate these. I want all that separate. There we go. Turn on the shirt. The only thing I want separate from the shirt are the strings. So I'm just going to select the string here. Move those out. Everything for the shirt, I want to keep that exactly where it is. So I'm going to hide the shirt and then bring in the vest. Actually, the vest, the same thing. I want to keep everything the way it is. Look, the body, this is what we want to see for the shirt. So I'm going to hide all the high poly. There we go. Select everything, export FBX, and I'm gonna call these low poly. And since we already exported, it's gonna save all the settings. And then I'm gonna turn off all the low poly and turn on the high poly. So there we go. This is what I want to see. Select all this, export high poly, export that out. And there we go. So we should now have everything separated, all ready to go. And the next step would be bring everything in the Substance Painter, but that's for a later video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a wonderful time, and I will see you all later.